The Hawaiian Hot Spot, the 8 main islands. Over 200 million years ago, the Hawaiian archipelago was formed by the Hawaiian Hot Spot, 18,000 feet under the sea. Liquid hot magma flows from our stationary hotspot, gradually forming each island over time instead of one long ridge. From Kure Atoll to Hawaii Island, the archipelago is 550 miles long. Now, a new island, Kamaehu Kanaloa, formerly known as Loihi, is beginning to form southeast of Hawaii Island. The Papahanaumokuakea Kea Marine National Park is the largest fully protected area by the National Marine Sanctuary System and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, also known as NOAA. All the Hawaiian Islands are formed from shield volcanoes, broad volcanoes with shallow slopes that look like a warrior's shield lying flat on the ground. Shield volcanoes have 9 stages of development: deep submarine stage, shallow submarine stage, shield building stage, post-shield stage, erosion stage, rejuvenation stage, reef growth stage, atoll stage, and gyote stage.
The island of Hawaii, also known as the Big Island, is currently the youngest island out of the 8 major chain islands, at a steady age of 300,000 years old, currently nevertheless expanding. Hawaii Island was created by 5 major volcanoes consisting of Kilauea, Mauna Loa, Mauna Kea, Hualalai, and Kohala. These 5 principal volcanoes that form the island of Hawaii are also known as shield volcanoes, which are generally gently sloping mountains that have been produced from very fluid lava flows. The island of Hawaii has such diverse set of volcanoes such as Mauna Loa, which is known for being the world's largest volcano, and Kilauea, which is known for being the most productive volcano in the world. Kohala is the oldest volcano on the island of Hawaii. It is roughly 1 million years old but last erupted about 120,000 years ago. Kohala makes up for the northern part of the Big Island and is known for its deep cliffs and green rolling hills. Kohala is believed to have risen above sea over 500,000 years ago, but roughly 250 to 300,000 years ago, at the end of the shield building phase, a massive landslide reduced the height of the volcano by more than 1,000 meters. The now oldest volcano of Big Island is extinct. The next volcano is Mauna Kea, which is located at the north central region of the island of Hawaii. At a height of 9,966 meters, Mauna Kea is the world's tallest mountain. Mauna Kea last erupted 4,500 years ago and is now known as a dormant volcano, although scientists still believe that it could one day erupt once again. Moving on to the third volcano, Mauna Loa, translating to Long Mountain, is one of the Earth's most active volcanoes, covering over 50% of the landmass of Big Island. Mauna Loa's long underwater flanks sink to the sea floors for another 5 kilometers, and the sea floor in turn is depressed by the large mass of Mauna Loa for another 8 kilometers. The volcano's summit is about 17 kilometers above its base. Geological studies show that the volcano rose above sea level roughly 400,000 years ago, being considered the second youngest volcano on Hawaii. Being the second youngest volcano of Hawaii, Mauna Loa erupted roughly 33 times a year from the years 1843 to 1942, but since then has been dormant. The fourth volcano, also known as Kilauea, is the youngest and most active volcano in the world. Kilauea is roughly known to be 210 to 280,000 years old. Kilauea in the Hawaiian language means spewing or much spreading, as the volcano certainly lives to its name. Since 1952, there have been more than 30 separate eruptions, and 90% of the surface of Kilauea volcano is less than 1,000 years old. The last of the 5 major volcanoes is Hualalai, which is known to have risen above sea levels about 300,000 years ago, entering its post-shield stage of development only 100,000 years ago. Within the last 1,000 years, Hualalai has erupted at least 3 times, averaging an eruption every 2 to 300 years. Scientists believe that within the next 100 years, Hualalai could once erupt again. And with the formation of those 5 volcanoes, the island of Hawaii, also known as Big Island, was created.
I will be talking about the second youngest island of the Hawaiian Island archipelago. Maui Nui was formed by the 2 volcanoes that were born on a hotspot on the ocean floor, Pu'ukukui and Haleakala. An interesting fact that I learned about the Hawaiian Islands is that about 1.2 million years ago, Maui, Nui, and Kahoulave were part of a huge landmass that was about 30 to 40% larger than the Big Island. As years go by, the islands start to split up, in which Lanai, Molokai, and Kahoulave became its own island. Part of its vastness was due to Penguin Bank, a wide shoal west of Molokai, as seen on the picture, that originated as a shield volcano roughly 2.2 million years ago. Once connected to the neighboring island of Oahu, the now coral-capped Penguin Bank encompassed an area 8 times larger than the present size of Kahoulave. Haleakala, as seen on both pictures, is an active volcano. Currently in its rejuvenated stage, vents are aligned along the rift zones. It last erupted in 1790 and has poorly established eruptive recurrences interval of several hundred years. It is located in the Maui County, and you can also visit the Haleakala crater. Kahoulave is an extinct volcano that has undergone the shield and post-shield stages. Before I forget, West Maui undergone shield stage, which was 1.5 million years old. Post-shield stage, 1.5 to 1.35 million years old. Rejuvenated stage, which was 570,000 to 350,000 years old. The rejuvenated stage is represented by only a handful of vents and flows located mainly near the town of Lahaina. Lahaina is an extinct volcano in which only passed through the shield stage. It is considered too young compared to the other islands. The Clark Landslide, located on the southwest of Lanai, is a large landslide that deposits on the seafloor, which came from Penguin Bank. Haleakala, as seen on both pictures, is still an active volcano. Currently in its rejuvenated stage, vents and are aligned along the rift zones. It last erupted in 1790 and has a poorly established eruptive recurrence interval of several hundred years. It is located in the Maui County, and you can also visit the Haleakala crater. Next is Kahoulave, which is an extinct volcano that has undergone the shield and post-shield stages. Before I forget, West Maui, was on its shield stage, which was about 1.2 million years old. When it was in post-shield stage, it was about 1.5 to 1.3 million years old. And it was rejuvenated stage, it was 570,000 to 350,000 years old. The rejuvenated stage is represented by only a handful of vents and flows, located mainly near the town of Lahaina. Lanai is an extinct volcano which only passed through the shield stage. It is considered too young compared to the other islands, and the Clark Landslide, located on the west of Lanai, is a large landslide that deposits on the seafloor, which came from Penguin Bank.
Oahu is the third youngest island in the Hawaiian archipelago. Oahu began its life as 2 separate volcanoes about 3 to 4 million years ago. They were the Waianae Volcano, which is about 3 to 4 million years old and is responsible for the beautiful Waianae Mountains in the west, and the Kohala Volcano, which is estimated to be about 2 to 3 million years old and is responsible for the breathtaking Kohala Range in the east. When these 2 volcanoes first formed, they erupted at frequent intervals with high fluid basaltic flows that eventually built up shield-shaped cones. The Waianae Volcano gradually created a summit caldera near the Kolekole Pass and a steep cliff that walled off Kaina Point all the way down to Kapolei from central Oahu, about 3.6 to 2.98 million years ago. In the picture, the caldera that was formed is marked by a dotted line near Waianae. At the same time, Kohala Volcano grew larger, mainly towards its northwestern side, as most of the lava flowed from the northwest side. Eventually, Waianae Volcano died and carved out the valleys we see today. They are Keau, Makaha, Waianae, Lualualei, and Nanakuli. Kohala Volcano lived longer than Waianae Volcano, as it was about a million years younger than Waianae. Kohala Volcano eventually filled the gap between the 2 volcanoes, making it into a single island. The plate formed between the 2 volcanoes is called the Schofield Plateau. At the same time Schofield Plateau was being created, rift zones intersecting the volcano created a caldera, which now forms present-day Kaneohe, Kailua, and Waimanalo. At this point in time, Oahu is about 1.5 times larger than its current size, and the openings of streams are approximately 1,800 feet below sea levels. Eventually, these streams destroy the caldera. The picture on the top right shows Waianae Volcano and Kohala Volcano as two separate entities. The picture below shows Schofield Plateau bridging the gap between the two volcanoes. And finally, the picture on the bottom left shows the stream erosion. Next, the island becomes rapidly submerged between 2,000 and 3,000 feet, but rapidly re-emerges. This results in the drownings of valleys and sedimentation, which made the valley floors flat. While this part of Oahu's history is far from completely known, researchers were able to decipher what happened based off of Oahu's shorelines. The shifting shoreline is possibly due to the changes in sea level during the Pleistocene period, also known as the Ice Age. Because of the shifting sea levels, Kauai volcano erupted once again at intervals of a few hundred or 1,000 years. These sparse eruptions ripped through various points on Oahu that were coral reefs at the time, forming Cocoa Head Crater, Diamond Head, Salt Lake, and Punch Bowl. The lava from these volcanic tuff cones spilled into nearby valleys such as Nuuanu, Kaneohe, Castle, Tanlis, and Kalihi. And finally, a few hundreds of thousands of years later, the Polynesians sailed across the ocean and discovered the island, naming it Oahu, which means the gathering place. A fitting name for the island as it is the most populated Hawaiian island.
Kauai, known as the Garden Isle, formed over our hotspot over 5.25 million years ago and is the second oldest of the main Hawaiian islands. Kauai is the best and only example of an island that has transitioned continuously from each stage to its current rejuvenated stage. As the hotspot moves away from the island, magma supply decreases and transitions into the rejuvenated stage, where its last lava flows will continue to occur. Before 2007, researchers thought Kauai was formed by a single volcano, but in 2011, research of lava compositions found distinct chemical differences on the east and west sides of the island, called Waimea and Lihue. Kauai is made from these two volcanoes. Its highest point, Waialeale Plateau, is at 5,148 feet above sea level. A large caldera formed from its remaining lava flows that gives Kauai its unique round and flat shape. The dense basalt lava center keeps the island's water from absorbing readily and allows Kauai to remain so green. Today, research is still needed to fully understand the course of an island's life history.
Ni'ihau, also known as the Forbidden Island, is the eldest of the 8 main Hawaiian islands. Ni'ihau formed over the Hawaiian Hot Spot around 5.55 million years ago and was made from a single shield volcano called Pani'au. Pani'au is currently in the rejuvenation stage. The tallest peak of Pani'au once stood over 4,600 feet above sea level. But after millions of years of erosion, Pani'au stands just over 1,200 feet above sea level. That's less than half of its original height. Just under a mile north of Ni'ihau is a small crescent-shaped islet called Lihue. Lihue was formed during a phreatomagmatic eruption about 4.9 million years ago. This type of eruption occurs when the rising hot magma meets the cool ocean water. Ashes and fragments of the ocean floor build up in a cone-shaped form around the volcanic vent and solidify into volcanic tuff. After many years of erosion, Lihue is now almost completely submerged underwater.